All right, let's dive right in. We're heading to a rugged, absolutely beautiful corner of southern Italy called the Gargano Peninsula. Now, this place is all about dramatic cliffs and ancient forests for sure, but it's also kind of like a landscape of the soul, offering two very, very different journeys toward finding a little bit of peace. And that brings us to a question we all ask ourselves, right? In our super busy, always on lives that hunt for a moment of just genuine contact, a sense of quiet and meaning, well, it feels more important than ever. It's an ancient human quest, really. And the Dervano? It offers two pretty powerful answers.
So could you find it here? Walking a path just covered in autumn leaves, under this canopy of massive ancient trees? A place where pretty much the only sounds are the wind and, the rustling of life all around you.
Or maybe it's found here, in a place built by human hands to reach for something divine. A space literally designed for prayer and pilgrimage, just filled with the silent devotion of millions. Two sanctuaries, one completely natural, the other man-made. So let's explore them both. Okay, first up, we're going to step into what the locals lovingly call the Breen Cathedral. This is the Foresta Umbra. It's this huge, protected woodland that just feels otherworldly. It's actually a leftover from the last glaciation. Think about that. It's like a northern European forest got plopped down in the middle of the Mediterranean, covering thousands of hectares in the heart of the Gargano. And what's really amazing is that its value was officially recognized. Back in 2017, the ancient beech woods here were made a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I mean, this isn't just any forest. It's a natural treasure of global importance. That's a huge deal. And you can totally see why it's so special. It's an absolute haven of biodiversity. It's home to these majestic, centuries-old trees and just a ton of wildlife, including the super rare Italicus roe deer, wild boars, and even golden eagles. It's a complete, thriving ecosystem. The name itself, Umbra, pretty much tells you everything you need to know. It's Latin for shadow. The canopy of the trees is so dense that even on the sunniest day, the forest floor is just bathed in this cool, green filtered light. It creates this incredibly serene, almost sacred feeling. This quote from a visitor just hits the nail on the head. It's not about organized religion or anything. It's about a deep, personal connection. It's this desire to simply sit, be still, and kind of soak up the ancient energy of the natural world. Okay, so let's leave the Green Cathedral and turn to a totally different kind of sanctuary, one built of stone and faith. We're going to follow the Pilgrim's Path. You see, the Gargano has been a destination for spiritual seekers for centuries. Towns like the medieval Monte Sant'Angelo and the world-famous San Giovanni Rotondo are literally carved into the mountains, built and sustained by this unending flow of pilgrims. And San Giovanni Rotondo is completely inseparable from the story of Padre Pio. He lived and served right here for over 50 years, and his presence basically transformed this small town into one of the most important Christian pilgrimage sites on the entire planet. And here, you can see this fascinating contrast playing out. On the left, that's the humble, historic little church where Padre Pio ministered. And on the right, the monumental modern sanctuary designed by the famous architect Renzo Piano. It's like a visual story of how faith evolves, from the personal to the massive. And the difference in atmosphere is just striking. The old church, Santa Maria delle Grazie, feels so incredibly intimate. Its walls are covered in these personal tokens of gratitude. The new church, though, is just vast. It's an architectural marvel built to embrace the sheer scale of modern global pilgrimage. And this quote, wow, it really gets to the heart of it. To walk these streets is to feel the weight and the hope of all that history. You're physically connecting with millions of stories, millions of searches for meaning that came before you. It's a powerful, powerful feeling of a shared human experience. So we have these two profoundly different worlds, right? The wild serenity of the forest and the structured devotion of the sanctuary. But are they really opposites? Or are they just two different languages trying to express the same basic human need? Let's break it down a bit. In the forest, you find what you might call a secular serenity. The sounds are birdsong and wind, and it's a journey into solitude. In the sanctuaries, you find a spiritual solemnity. The sounds are silent prayer and bells, and it's a journey of community. So one path looks outward to nature. The other looks inward through shared faith. The methods are different, but the goal, well, it starts to look very similar.
And this really says it all. Both are considered sacred places. One sacredness is found in its wild, untouched state. The other's is in its focused, human-built devotion. They're really just two sides of the same coin. So all of this brings us back to our original question. If both of these paths lead to a sacred space, what is it that we're ultimately searching for on these journeys? The key word at the end of the day is contact. It's this powerful, almost physical need. Whether it's feeling the rough bark of an ancient tree or kneeling on stone worn smooth by centuries of prayer, the goal is about getting outside of our own heads. It's about making contact with something bigger, whether you call that nature, God, history, or just the deepest parts of yourself. So as we leave the Gargano, the question kind of turns back to you. It doesn't have to be a forest in Italy or a world-famous church. It could be a park down the street, a library, a quiet room. The journey is universal. Where do you go to find that moment of contact? Where's your sanctuary?